And it was the architects of artificial intelligence.
The rise of artificial intelligence.
AI.
We're using a new AI system.
AI, artificial intelligence. AI, artificial intelligence. AI.
No, you're not crazy. The internet has an AI problem. If you're like me who's on the internet every day, you'll notice an increasing trend towards AI sounding videos on social media. The feeling is very hard to pinpoint, but these videos have an unnatural style and cadence that is like it was approved by the HR. And it's not just YouTube or TikTok videos, but this AI lingo has permeated into our daily lives. A few weeks ago, I attended my school's closing ceremony, and the principal's speech was like the most obvious AI-generated speech ever. Like they didn't even try to make it sound human-written, they just typed in a prompt and went with it. That really made me wonder, if they're willing to lazily whip up an AI-generated script, what else are they willing to do? Anyways, what I mean is, our lives are so infested with AI nowadays that if you just pay a tiny bit of attention to things around you, you will realize how stupidly low effort they really are. Even the higher quality channels on YouTube aren't safe. You watch a well-produced video, and it still has this faint, lingering AI feel to it.
So the distinction isn't actually about price. It's about the loafer's purpose. Your brain isn't just perceiving a tool. It's seeing a pedigree of design. They're drinking time-honed craftsmanship, 20 days of darkness, and an hour of stone-cold patience.
I don't know if that's because they're using ChatGPT to write their scripts or they're subconsciously influenced by AI. But considering more than half of newly published articles and web pages are AI generated, it's not a surprise that people are starting to sound like ChatGPT. This phenomenon of people speaking more and more like clankers on the internet can be attributed to what I call AI inbreeding. You know, back in the days when royal families used to marry their own relatives to keep the power in the family, and that caused a lot of different health issues such as
infertility, deformity, mental illnesses,
all that good stuff. That can also happen to AI models. ChatGPT, for example, is trained on a large database of human-made content, but as the internet becomes increasingly AI-infested, that could cause the models to train on their own synthetic data. Over time, this repeated process could dumb down an AI model, making it sound less human. A more visual example of this would be the AI image trend, where users would ask a chatbot to create an exact replica of an image without changing a thing. After running the image through AI multiple times, it would slowly degrade and change into some very strange stuff that's far different from the original source. Think of those Instagram GIFs with dozens of variations that lose their meaning after being altered so much that it looks like a fever dream by the end. Supporters of AI could argue that we can avoid this issue by simply filtering out and watermarking generated content, but AI has been so deeply integrated into internet and internet culture that there's no definitive way to differentiate between what should be considered human and what isn't. Should an article written by a human and edited by AI be used in language training? To what degree is something still human-made? There are simply too many variables for us to consider. Another aspect of overusing AI is its impact on human speech. Even if we somehow manage to filter out all the generated slop in model training, there's still a growing tendency for human-made content to unintentionally sound like a chatbot, which can affect the training output. Maybe it's because we're exposed to AI content so much that we're now subconsciously mimicking robots. And that's just a horrible thing. I've seen more and more people use common AI words like tapestry or delve in their speech, myself included, and I think that made me realize how susceptible we are to the content we consume on a daily basis. It's like learning a new language where the more you're exposed to it, the faster you are at acquiring the language. Except this language is an average of every person on the internet. And then we use that human made content to feed to the AI, making it sound even less human. The result is a never ending cycle of AI eating itself to death. This reminds me of that one scene in the Backrooms movie where the camera slowly moves down the layers of the backrooms and it gradually mutates and deforms, showing how the more times it remembers something, the less it does. While I'm not trying to imply that the movie is about artificial intelligence, it bears a scary resemblance to what is happening to the internet if we continue this trend towards AI dependency. Alright, so how can we know if something is written by AI? As you probably know by now, there are certain words and phrases that it likes to use more than others, but there are also broader, more structural signatures that you can identify. Here's an example. I'll give you some time to read the paragraph, but what you'll notice immediately with this AI generated text is that it likes to incorporate really big words that sound deep and emotional. At first glance, it's a pretty well written movie review, but what it really is just a bunch of buzzwords mushed together. Like, what does cosmic meditation even mean? I don't get that. Or,
Existential phantom limb syndrome.
I've never seen an actual human say those words. These generated texts also like to use specific literary devices, such as the rule of threes, listing three things in a sentence, like the good, the bad, and the ugly, or in this case,
A profound cosmic meditation on memory, longing, and dislocation.
while not bad on its own, AIs love to overuse it even when there's nothing to list. And when there's nothing to list, they will try to make filler words just to follow that rule. Another favorite of AI is the sentence structure. It's not this, it's that, or it's not just this, it's that, and all the different variations of this phrase. For example,
Shinkai's signature photorealistic backgrounds don't just serve as eye candy, they actively weaponize light and space to reflect the internal landscapes of his characters.
you can see this pattern on a lot of those motivational AI TikToks.
Discipline is not punishment, it is self-respect.
Just a dream. It's the life some people wake up to every day.
Luxury is not about price, it is about perception.
It's very obvious once you see it. Some of you watching may think,
I just use AI to assist and brainstorm ideas when writing. It won't affect me that much, right?
well, you would be wrong to assume that. A study conducted by researchers at Cornell found that working with an opinionated language model significantly altered the viewpoints expressed in the user's finished essays. In addition, people rarely notice this happening, though the AI was intentionally restricted to pull heavily toward one side of the debate. The majority of participants still described the AI's suggestion as quote-unquote balanced and reasonable. To put it simply, using AI as an assistant for writing or creating content in general will result in something that may be biased towards that specific model's view. Swedish Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson
Ulf Kristersson.
I don't know how to say it, even publicly admitted to consulting chatbots. Quote,
I use it myself quite often, if for nothing else than for a second opinion. What have others done, and should we think the complete opposite? Those types of questions.
And his spokesperson later said,
Naturally, it's not security-sensitive information that ends up there. It's used more as a ballpark.
even if he only used AI to give a general planning of an idea, it can still influence policymakers in some way or another. The thought of an entire country's policy being lobbied by an AI is deeply unsettling and dystopian. Anyways, to conclude all of this, I just want to say that using AI for anything and everything might not be a good idea after all. It's time we should step back and stop opening ChatGPT or Gemini for every simple task we encounter. Even if it's harder to do so, creating things and writing by yourself is a much more rewarding experience. By doing so, we can fight back the homogenization of language that AI is causing. Thanks for watching. Bye.